We're training teachers in the whole area of the science of teaching. We're upskilling them in their pedagogy. This is a professional development programme for post-primary teachers. We have 130 teachers here today. They're representing the ACCS sector, the voluntary secondary school sector, and our own sector, the Education and Training Board sector. What we're aiming to do is we're trying to make teachers consciously competent as opposed to accidentally adequate. That's what we're doing. We're getting them to think about what they're doing in a classroom to improve the quality of teaching and learning, and we're also trying to give them a language that will allow them to have professional conversations with their colleagues within their own setting to improve the quality of teaching and learning. It's a programme that's around for the last 5 years. We commenced it with the what was then the vocational education committees. We started with that sector, and it was so popular that we extended it to the other sectors at post-primary level. So we're in our 5th year. We have approximately 700 teachers trained at this stage. We have 128 schools across Ireland involved, and it's growing. We actually have a waiting list as well. The programme was developed initially by Professor Barry Bennett. Barry met with Dr. Finney who's a department inspector based in Cork. They've known each other for quite a while. Finn had visited Canada and seen Barry's work and was particularly interested in it. And then I met Finn in Cork, and conversation started, and we all met. The three of us then met. And Barry was keen to work with Ireland and to change the education system in Ireland. I was particularly keen, as I said, because of the focus being on the teaching and learning and supporting teachers. So we worked on it together. The three of us worked on it together initially in terms of implementation. But then we established a steering committee at national level to actually devise the programme in terms of taking the Canadian experience and shaping it for the Irish context. And we've done that, and we've created modules for the programme so that when teachers are trained here, they can go back to their own school setting and they can use the modules and the resources that we have prepared for them and that we've devised ourselves to fit the Irish context in terms of training their own teachers at local level. We've developed a website as well where teachers can share resources that they've used in their classroom. So a science class that has been used, we'll say, in Donegal can be used in Cork. Through the website, they can share the resources. We have a lot of video footage as well. I think one of the big successes of the programme as well is that what it really has achieved for us in the Irish context is that it has opened classroom doors. You have teachers allowing other teachers in, and you have teachers sharing their experience and their resources from all corners of the country. And that's very, very unique for us, and I think it's because of the way the programme was built in the first place, as I said, in consultation with Barry and Dr. Finney.
Well, I guess I'm a teacher fundamentally. I taught high school for a couple of years, then sort of middle school, elementary. I was in the classroom for probably about 10 years. For the last 27 years I've been a professor at the University of Toronto, and my focus is on how systems change, but specifically how we intersect instruction, assessment, curriculum, how kids learn, change and systemic change to try to increase the life chances and learning chances of kids. The purpose of it is to try to change the system to get it to rethink how they design powerful learning environments for kids. There are a lot of good teachers out there. We're trying to make it more intentional and develop a language around classroom management, around instruction, around assessment, etc., that allows us to communicate in a more powerful way. So we're using research from around the world to do that. I'm interested in how systems change, and this is the first opportunity I've had to look at how does a country change. We worked in Western Australia for 12 years, and we get an idea how a state changes, right? And that's a large state, 856 schools. And so this opportunity came about because Finbar Merku came to a research conference in Europe, and he's one of the school inspectors here. And he's also a researcher, did his PhD in the area of team teaching, etc. So he's also interested in the area of how kids learn. And he said, well, why don't we try getting what you did in Western Australia and what you did in the Durham Board of Education. And that district won a $300,000 prize as the best school district in the world about 10 years into the project. So we're sort of taking those wisdoms and trying to merge them in our project here in Ireland. Now up to about 25% of the secondary schools in Ireland involved in the project, and it's a volunteer project. And the teachers come because they want to be here. So we're seeing the project getting bigger, and we're seeing the involvement of more people from the ministry, involvement of inspectors, etc. So we're slowly trying to get all the stakeholders involved. Like the union now is, we're having conversations with them. Finn has sat down and talked with one of the unions here to get them involved, because in Western Australia, the union was the key player. And we know that the more we involve the ministry, the faculty of education, the teachers union, the more powerful this project becomes.
teachers feel that they're far more confident, they're far more creative in the classroom. They would also say that students are learning effectively and efficiently, and everybody's enjoying the classroom setting. So it is making a difference. It's also making a difference in the schools, in the sense that teachers are having the conversations, they're having the professional conversations. Teaching and learning is now on the agenda in staff rooms. Previous to this, it was all policy development. People were focused on the plant and people were focusing on the policy. But now teaching and learning is at the core of everything that they talk about.
The feedback's been very positive, and Finbar Mirko and I and Joan Russell presented a research paper in Zug, Switzerland on the project a few weeks ago, and that data showed that the teachers are really appreciating someone taking the time to care about what goes on in their classrooms and helping them rethink the extension of their instructional repertoire, because the research shows that it's the teacher's instructional repertoire is the #1 predictor of whether or not kids achieve, and so the teachers appreciate us pushing that dimension that research says is critical. I think that what we're playing with in these projects are instructional methods, ways of thinking that work like with 4-year-olds and work with PhD students. Like I work with master's students and doctoral students, and I use the same methods with PhD students as I would use with 6 and 7-year-olds. I have to modify data sets, modify the language, but the processes work across subject areas and across the grade levels that kids are in. So that doesn't mean that there aren't certain methods that apply more to elementary or more to math, let's say, but because we're bringing teachers from all grade levels and all subject areas, this phase of the project is focusing on those methods that apply across a broad spectrum of curriculums and ages.
Saw Barry at a conference where he was a speaker. He was a keynote speaker. He spoke for about 1 hour. And following that talk, I signed up for another conference with him, which was a couple of days at McGill University. And then I just found I wanted more. And a number of the teachers who had been at the McGill University conference were not as motivated, I find, as the group that's here. So when I knew that this project was a voluntary one where teachers had wanted to be involved, I thought it would be a better opportunity to learn from him, because so many people have bought into what he's talking about.
I've had an amazing time, both personally and pedagogically, professionally. But I think the biggest thing coming out of this is really a greater sense of teaching with a particular purpose to maximize student learning, student retainment, and also just really being able to exchange best teaching practices at an international level, actually. Yeah.
There's a whole new debate and discussion around how teachers teach and how teachers teach teachers to teach. And that discussion and dialogue is being informed by this type of activity.
My principal and deputy principal approached me and asked me, as a senior member of staff, would I be interested in attending the course, which is leadership. And I thought, is this for me? Is this for somebody who hopes to be in management down the line? I'm not thinking that way at the moment. And then when they explained the course to me and what it was going to be about and how we were going to be able to bring this information back to our staff, I thought, you know what, yeah, I'm here for the long haul. This stuff sounds interesting. And I also thought, I need to do this. I need to upskill my teaching strategies. I need to change my approach, maybe things. I need to learn new things. I need to remember things that I've probably forgotten from my training 20 years ago. So I was very happy to come along, and I'm very glad that I did make the decision to do it. The first day was quite overwhelming. You're thinking, oh my God, what have I signed myself up for? But it becomes clearer. The concepts become clearer as the days go on. The strategies, the ideas, the thinking, the language, the vocabulary, it all becomes clearer as we sit through the days here.
When Ireland hosted the presidency of the EU, they hosted an education conference, and the conference was specifically on teachers teaching teachers and having a dialogue about teaching and learning at levels outside of school, for including the one that we're here today. So at both formal sessions such as the one behind me and informal sessions such as meeting in the bar and so on, the course of the conference, I've been completely amazed at the discussion that people are having, active discussions on what's working best in schools, best practice, teaching strategies, behaviour management techniques, and all of this will have a real positive effect on teaching and learning in schools.
One of the main benefits of this course is that it's completed over 4 different sessions. That means when you go back to your school that your aim is to try out these strategies and methodologies that you've learned, and you feel like you have accountability for your work, so that when you come back to the next session that you'll be able to communicate with the other teachers and principals and inform them of how your strategies worked in your school, or maybe how they did not work and how you would adapt them in different classes. And it gives you that sense of accountability by coming back again.
Techniques that we could use in the classroom are a lot clearer now for me, so I can go back to the classroom and practice them and play with them and hopefully develop into a better teacher.
Yeah, I'm delighted with it, and the amount of people I've met and ideas I shared, so really, really good.
My classroom management techniques, he definitely has given us better things to help get most out of students. Techniques like the think, pair, share was one particular one. Like, I mean, it does allow for more analytical thinking. We're only kind of getting to recall back what we've just said, whereas this way, like, I mean, you're opening, it's making the work, easier for us.
I have to say the experience is brilliant. The energy here, it's very alive, it's enthusiastic. Everybody is getting energy from it. They really are getting an energy from it, and there's something for everybody to take away.